There's a name nobody talks about anymore. Richter, a German pilot. In 1933, he took photographs over Antarctica that were never meant to be seen. Those photographs cost him everything. And they revealed something that governments have spent nearly a century trying to bury. I'm telling you this because the original files were declassified 3 months ago. Leaked, actually. Sent to a historian in Oslo who has been quietly researching what really happened beneath the Antarctic ice. She contacted me. She told me what she found. And I realized that everything we've been told about Antarctica is a lie. Listen to what happened. July 1933, Richter climbs into his aircraft. He's just doing a job. Reconnaissance mapping. Nothing dramatic. Nothing he thinks will matter. Just fly over the ice sheet, take photographs of the coastline, document geographical features, come back. Routine work. And the kind of work that explorers do all the time. He's not looking for anything extraordinary. He's just following orders. But as he flies, something catches his attention. The ice doesn't look right. It's not uniform. There are patterns, geometric patterns, heat signatures visible from altitude, areas where the ice seems thinner than it should be, thermal variations that don't make sense. He takes photographs, more photographs than he's supposed to. He's feeling something he can't explain, a sense that he's seeing something that matters. He returns to base, develops the photographs, studies them, and that's when his hands start shaking. The photographs show geothermal activity, heat sources, beneath the ice, in a continent that's supposed to be dead. Lifeless, frozen. There's something warm down there. Something actively warm. Something generating heat in the middle of the coldest place on Earth. Richter understands what this means. He's not stupid. He knows that geothermal energy is the future. He knows that whoever controls energy controls everything. And he knows that he's found something that could reshape the entire world. So he does what any good soldier does. He reports up the chain of command. Within days, the German government moves. They don't announce anything. They don't publish findings. They mobilize an entire expedition. The Second German Antarctic Expedition. Fully funded, fully supported, fully militarized. They're going to Antarctica to verify what Richter found, to understand it completely, to claim it. Richter watches them prepare. He's excited. He's part of something big. Something historical. Something that will change everything. Then the expedition returns, and Richter never flies again. The files don't explain what happened to him. They just stop. He disappears from the record. No publication, no interviews, no public presence. Just gone. The man who discovered Antarctica's secret simply ceases to exist in any official capacity. But here's what matters. The information he gathered didn't disappear. It was classified. It was locked away. It was filed in the most secure vaults of the German government. And then the war came. The world exploded, and everyone forgot about Antarctica. Except they didn't. Not really. Because after the war, when the Soviet Union and the United States emerged as superpowers, both of them started asking the same question. What was Germany doing in Antarctica? What did they find there? The answers they discovered terrified them. In 1959, something extraordinary happened. The Soviet Union and the United States, enemies, absolutely hostile to each other, agreed on something. The Antarctic Treaty. Every major power signed it. They agreed that Antarctica would be off limits for exploitation. No military activity, no resource extraction. The continent would be a scientific preserve, protected forever. On the surface, this seems noble, a rare moment of global cooperation. Humanity at its best, scientists celebrating, environmental advocates celebrating. world leaders patting themselves on the back for making the right choice. But I want you to think about this differently. Two superpowers in the middle of the Cold War, locked in a competition for global dominance, suddenly decide to cooperate on one thing: keeping Antarctica sealed. Both agree. No negotiations, no debate, just agreement. Why would that happen? What would make two enemies agree to give up an entire continent? The answer is in the files, and the answer is terrifying. They had decoded Richard's data. They had confirmed what he found. They had verified that Antarctica contained geothermal resources, heat sources, energy, unlimited renewable energy just sitting there beneath the ice, waiting to be tapped. The kind of discovery that could reshape global power. The kind of discovery that could make one nation unstoppable. And both superpowers looked at each other and made a calculation. A cold calculation. If one of us gets that resource, the other loses. We'll never be equal again, so instead of fighting over it, we'll agree to seal it. We'll keep it classified. We'll make sure nobody knows what's there. We'll cooperate in suppression. The Antarctic Treaty wasn't environmental protection. It was a mutual agreement to hide knowledge, to suppress truth, to keep the world from knowing what lay beneath the ice. Scientists went to Antarctica. Lots of them. Research stations were built. Equipment was installed. Data was collected. But every discovery was classified. Every finding was sealed. Every piece of knowledge was locked away in government vaults. The scientists understood. They signed the agreements. They kept quiet. And for nearly 70 years, the world didn't know. Nobody knew that the world's greatest energy resource had been discovered and immediately classified. Nobody knew that a deliberate choice had been made to suppress that knowledge. Nobody knew that governments were lying about why Antarctica mattered. The files show all of this. Clear documentation, meeting notes from classified discussions, decision trees showing how information was to be controlled, instructions to researchers about what could be published and what had to be hidden. The entire architecture of suppression laid bare. But here's where the story gets strange. The historian who contacted me, the one in Oslo, she found something in the files that doesn't fit the narrative, something that changes everything. She found references to something called the subsurface discovery. Different from the geothermal activity, something else, something that was found deeper. Something that was so significant that it overshadowed even the geothermal resources. The files mention it. They reference it. But the actual details are still classified. Redacted. Blacked out. Whatever was found beneath the geothermal layer, whatever lay even deeper in the Antarctic subsurface, that knowledge remains sealed. And when she tried to find more information, when she started asking questions to academics and researchers who had worked in Antarctica, something happened. She stopped responding to emails. That was 8 days ago. The last message she sent me was fragmentary, scattered, like she was typing in a panic. She said, "They know I'm looking. They're here. They're at my..." The message ended. No follow-up, no explanation, just silence. I've tried reaching her. Nothing. I've called her university. They say she's on medical leave. Nobody can contact her. Nobody knows where she is. But here's what keeps me awake at night. She was about to tell me what was actually found in Antarctica. Not the geothermal resources. The other thing. The thing that's so classified that knowing about it might be dangerous. Because if she disappeared for asking questions, if the system is still active enough to silence people, then what's really down there has to be extraordinary. It has to be so significant that suppressing it remains a priority even now. Even in the age of the internet, even when information can spread instantly, even when hiding truth has become nearly impossible. The question becomes, what is worth silencing people for? What discovery is worth maintaining alive for nearly a century? What truth about Antarctica is so threatening that governments still act to suppress it? The answer lies in understanding how power works. It's not about energy. Not really. Governments care about power, and energy is just one form of power. But there are other kinds. There's knowledge power. There's discovery power. There's the power that comes from knowing something nobody else knows. If Antarctica contained geothermal resources, that would be valuable. Nations would want it, but they could work around that. They could develop alternative energy. The world could adapt. Geothermal energy, while valuable, isn't civilization breaking. But what if something else was found? What if beneath the geothermal layer, deeper in the Antarctic subsurface, explorers found evidence of something that contradicted human history? What if they found something that suggested human civilization was far older than we believe? What if they found structures, artifacts, proof of ancient advanced knowledge? The redacted files contain references to subsurface architecture. Those words, redacted around them, highlighted in the declassified documents. Someone wanted to make sure nobody missed that phrase, even though they had to black out the context. Subsurface architecture. What does that mean? What structure exists beneath the ice in Antarctica? The historian's last messages to me included coordinates. 3 locations in Antarctica. Places where, according to her research, unusual geological surveys had been conducted. Places where research stations had been built specifically to monitor something. Places where data collection was happening, but results were never published. She was going to tell me what those locations actually contained. She was going to reveal what had been found. And then she disappeared. I've been thinking about this for 8 days, running through possibilities, and I've realized something that makes the suppression make sense. Makes the silence make sense. Makes the government cooperation make sense. If something was found in Antarctica that suggested ancient advanced civilization, that would challenge the entire historical narrative. It would suggest that human history is far longer and far more sophisticated than we currently believe. It would suggest that civilizations rose and fell before the ones we study. It would undermine religious narratives, historical narratives, everything we've built our understanding of human civilization upon. Governments can't allow that knowledge to exist publicly. It's too destabilizing. It would cause social upheaval. Religious upheaval? The foundation of institutions would be questioned. Power structures would be challenged. So they sealed it. All of them. Every government that found out about it. They made the choice together. Suppress the knowledge. Keep it classified. Maintain the narrative. The Antarctic Treaty becomes something very different when you understand this. It wasn't cooperation to protect the environment. It was cooperation to protect the existing power structure, to maintain authority, to prevent a truth from destabilizing civilization, and the system that maintains this suppression is elegant. Research stations remain. Scientists continue working. Discoveries continue being made. But everything is classified. Every finding is locked away. The knowledge exists, but it exists in darkness, separated from humanity, hidden behind security clearances and classified archives. The researchers understand. They're not forced. They're incentivized. Good salaries, prestigious positions, access to cutting-edge equipment, in exchange for silence, in exchange for keeping the secret. And if someone breaks the code, if someone tries to reveal the truth, then pressure appears, mysterious pressure, pressure that looks like medical leave, Pressure that looks like career difficulties. Pressure that looks like accidents that happen to outspoken researchers. The historian knew this. She was careful, but she was asking the wrong questions to the wrong people. Or she was getting too close to something that required intervention. I don't know if she's alive. I don't know if she's in protective custody. I don't know if she's been neutralized in some way. I just know that she was going to tell me something, and then she disappeared. And I've made a choice. I'm telling this story anyway. Because you need to know what I've found. You need to know that there is a truth about Antarctica that has been hidden. You need to know that governments are still maintaining this suppression. You need to know that asking questions about what was really discovered beneath the ice is apparently dangerous enough to silence people. The twist is this. I've been telling you that governments discovered something ancient, something that contradicted history, something worth hiding. But there's a detail I left out. The subsurface structures found in Antarctica weren't ancient in the way you think. They weren't from some lost human civilization. They weren't from before recorded history. They weren't from thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years ago. The artifacts weren't human-made. The structures found beneath the Antarctic ice showed signs of non-human construction, possibly non-human habitation, evidence that something else was building, creating, engineering, existing on this planet in the period we thought only early humans inhabited. And the implications of that discovery, the implications of knowing that Earth wasn't exclusively human populated even tens of thousands of years ago, those implications are so profound that governments immediately classified them. Because if the public knew that something else was here, something intelligent, something capable of engineering and building, something that existed and then disappeared, everything would change. Religious certainty would shatter. The special status of humanity would be questioned. The narrative of human dominance would be undermined. And more importantly, if something else was here and is now gone, the question becomes, what happened to it? Did it leave? Did it hide? Is it still here? Those are questions that no government wants answered in public, so they sealed the knowledge. They classified the evidence. They created a system to suppress it.